Oh, oh. Why, hello there, all you loyal listeners out there from all corners of the interwebs. I truly thank you from the bottom of my heart that you have chosen to be a part of the super late Christmas edition of B30. Seriously though, thank you for listening. And white man Santa Claus voice aside, even though Christmas was almost a week ago, I think this session is needed because the relationship between Santa and Jesus is more than just two figures opposing each other. Plus, now that you're all somewhat recovered from your, how should I say, Christmas holiday food comas, it's a good time to do a post-Christmas reflection on what you just basically celebrated. So let's begin by talking about Santa Claus. So I'm talking about that harmless-looking senior citizen with a belly full of jelly, or what I like to call obesity in a very adorable manner, who has a strong affinity for being generous to children. And let's just refrain from making pedophilia jokes, Santa likes children. Let's just stop. Let's keep it clean, rated G. Now, I'm aware, for those who are not in primary grade school, that Santa's kind of viewed as a symbol of commercialization, consumerism in North American culture, and worse yet, Santa has been labeled as this distraction from the true meaning of Christmas, which is the birth of Jesus Christ. We're at this stage where, when it comes to Santa and Jesus, you have to like one and dislike the other. Never liking both, if you're like a religious, devout, fundamentalist Christian. So it's common knowledge, if you believe in Jesus, you can't believe in Santa Claus. So one or the other. But what I do want to state clearly is the fact that an actual Santa Claus figure is indeed not real. So we're talking about the red suit, the magic mittens, the cute little hat, the adorable white beard. It's not real, folks. So don't go flying to the North Pole looking for the little elf workshop and his cute little cabin cottage thingy. And for you coders and computer enthusiasts, don't waste your time trying to develop like an app that detects Santa and his reindeer on the night of Christmas Eve. Sorry to break it to you guys. But what I find most real about Santa Claus are the ideals he stands for. So for example, his reputation as a generous giver and being kind to children are basically the only aspects of Santa which are accurate and not made up. That is because the values and beliefs that Santa is known for are based on a real person from the 4th century. And this person that I speak of goes by the name of Nicholas. He was a church bishop of a region known as Myra, or he's better known as Saint Nicholas of Myra because of his compassion for humanity. So if I was to do a quick word analysis and trace the historical origin or etymology of Santa Claus, Nicholas is from the Greek word Niklaus, and what happens here is when it gets transliterated into different languages, the spelling and pronunciation gets corrupted. Then you gotta factor in that it gets misspelled and mispronounced over centuries of time. So Niklaus, sooner or later, became Sinterklaas. Sinterklaas. Yeah, my Dutch isn't really that good. Which then became Santa Claus. So in linguistic circles, they called this series of changes in spelling and pronunciation for a particular word an elision. So anyways, fancy, boring stuff aside, the whole point of that word study is to show the name Santa Claus can be traced back to this 4th century Christian church bishop, St. Nicholas. Now I want to take this discussion further into another direction and explore more about this Nicholas of Myra. I want to find out who he was, values and beliefs, and how that became a part of the makeup of Santa. If I may set the scene, Let me just paint the picture. It was the year AD 325. I'll stop using that voice. So a whole bunch of bishops and priests all gathered at this Nicene Council, basically this little winter conference or summit where Christian leaders would try to standardize and codify all that nitpicky stuff about biblical belief and practice. So the purpose of these councils is Christians from all parts of the Mediterranean world would adhere to the same kind of rules or tenets of biblical teaching. So no one's totally off base. Everybody's on the same page, belief-wise. Then comes this Arius character. You can Google his heretical views on theology known as Arianism. He argued that the Son was not equal to the Father, a position he literally taught as truth in Egypt. He ruffles feathers and he gets people upset. Then Bishop Nicholas of Myra came along, and apparently a man of little more than 5 feet tall. And word on the street is he became so enraged at Bishop Arius's understanding of Scripture that he punched Arius right in the face during a council. As a result of his crime of passion, he was stripped of his vestments. I guess that's fancy for priestly robes or whatever. Yeah, and he had his worn out copies of the Gospels taken away too. And he was left in a prison cell. And according to Christian tradition, he was visited by Christ in his cell, and then somehow, some way, he got reinstated as a bishop. And then he was found the next day reading those worn copies of the Gospels that were returned to him. So a lot of word of mouth, not exactly confirmed. But nevertheless, his influence on the fairy tale of Santa Claus happened well before the Nicene Council. So Bishop Nicholas of Myra had a reputation for being kind to the poor and oppressed. When it comes to the poor and oppressed, we're talking about people of low status like widows and children. So you see the connection here. Santa Claus giving out gifts to children. St. Nicholas really has a heart for widows and orphans and poor children in general. So this is the type of guy that St. Nicholas was. He sold all he inherited from his wealthy parents and just distributed it all to those in need. And he had this signature move where he would put coins in the shoes of those who left them out for him. So I'm guessing these people get word that St. Nicholas was passing by, so they'd leave out their shoes, and his calling card is he would leave coins in them. And more folklore had suggested that he would throw bags of coins through window openings and chimneys, or in one particular case, he put bags of coins in a woman's stocking when she was hanging her laundry out to dry. So again, we're seeing connections here. Santa coming down chimneys, putting presents down Christmas stockings. So hopefully you're seeing the connection that this modern day kind of understanding of Santa was basically an adaptation of St. Nicholas's kind nature. So for those who are curious about the context of putting money in a woman's stocking, it goes back to this account where some poor dude had 3 daughters, and he basically didn't have enough money to marry them off, so it was most likely that he was going to sell his daughters off or trade them around like currency. Thank goodness St. Nicholas was doing his Secret Santa thing, doing his little ninja walk in or kind of sneak in and just drop bags of money secretly. Thank goodness St. Nicholas did that. Now another thing about St. Nicholas was he was pretty driven and uncompromising as well. I mean, it's been recorded that he was imprisoned by Emperor Diocletian for his faith, but after his release, he just continued doing what Christians do, helping those in need. So again, I hope you guys are starting to see some connections here. Santa, also aka Saint Nick, and I've been babbling about how there's a Christian figure who also goes by the name of Saint Nick or Saint Nicholas of Myra. And St. Nicholas putting coins in the shoes of people kind of resembles that Secret Santa or Kris Kringle kind of giving practice that we do in the modern day. And again, the stocking, the chimney. I hope you guys are seeing a connection where the past and the present converge. So with all this praise and accolades for St. Nicholas, it was only a matter of time that as a homage to one of those or a great person who intensely devoted his life to Jesus Christ, there was a feast day for St. Nicholas, and it's assigned on December 6th. And it has long been viewed as a precursor to the Christmas season. Now we're getting down to the main point here. So if you believe in Santa, which is in another sense you're indirectly honoring the character of St. Nicholas, then technically you can do that and celebrate Jesus' birth together, one leading into another. So there's technically no conflict of interest. Let's just put it this way. When you're celebrating the feast day of St. Nicholas on December 6th, it's actually like an opening act, or like the spiritual appetizer to get your spiritual palate going. So when the spiritual entree does come around, which is Christmas or the birth of Jesus, your spiritual appetite's kind of warmed up and ready for the entree, which is Christmas. So, in other words, believing in Santa, whose character is basically from St. Nicholas, ideally should help you prepare your heart and mind to celebrate the birth of Jesus, which is the true meaning of Christmas. To conclude, what it comes down to is this. There's a reason why you loved Santa as a kid. Because he was this harmless-looking, approachable old man who loved children and gave gifts. Well, this love of children and the spirit of giving is a reflection of St. Nicholas of Myra from the 4th century. Again, Santa Claus's present-day values and kind-hearted nature is rooted in a rich Christian heritage. But the key point here isn't to just praise St. Nicholas off the wall and how great he was, but it's to kind of trace that he was actually influenced and inspired by the thoughts and actions of Jesus Christ, which Jesus modeled during his time on earth, and it was recorded in the scriptures. So as a final thought, all you concerned parents out there fear your children will worship a Santa figure who's all about gifts and consumerism, and they're going to be all spoiled and get a false sense of entitlement. Well, just make sure you tell your children that Santa Claus's generous and loving character is derived from a rich Christian heritage and from this guy St. Nicholas, and St. Nicholas got his influence and inspiration from Jesus Christ. So follow the dots, and it all goes back to God and Christ. All right, we will stop here, and I'll let you folks get back to, I don't know what you guys do for fun. I don't know, enjoying your holidays and start preparing for your upcoming New Year's Eve festivities. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.